Yes, thank you. All right. Well, hey, good morning again, everybody. It's Howard Olson here with my good friend Ben Russell, who finds himself down in Houston this morning and every morning as of late. And listen, we just started. We wanted to turn on this call. I'm not going to make a big presentation about FastTrader, but I just wanted to come on this morning and give each of you an opportunity to get some questions answered. We're not making a presentation on what FastTrader is. We've done all of that, but Howard Olson here with hold on now, Ben. Hold on. There we go.
I'm like,
I am trying to monitor the live streams. No, when I'm doing the Decree for Canada call, I don't watch what's happening in Facebook and YouTube because there's too much going on. I'm flowing in the spirit. But because this is a Q&A call, I've opened up my YouTube window and I've opened up Facebook so I can watch the comments in there. And if there's questions coming in through those watching in the streams, I can bring them on. And then all of a sudden, my voice started coming back at me 30 seconds later. What's that? So anyway, I'm also learning as we go here. So anyway, good morning to each and every one of you. Good afternoon. For some of you, it will be. We just want to say hello. Hey, Ben, you want to introduce yourselves? And then we'll just open the floor to Q&A.
Absolutely. Hey, Howard, first, I just want to say thank you and honor everyone here for your desire to do something a little different. I think the fact that you're following with Howard and you're a part of this group, you recognize that what's normal is probably not what the Lord would have for you to do anyway. This is not normal. So here we go. It's time for us to have some fun. My name is Ben. I work with Johnny in the background. So if you see Johnny Robinson, That is our technical support guy from the UK. If you see Jack Bentler, he's our founder and CEO. If you see Ben, that's me, and I help people with doing the onboarding. You're a part of this group. Oh, so there we go. I just heard my voice again.
Yeah, it's gone.
What I'm looking forward to today is Howard and I just wanted to get together, give you all an opportunity to ask some questions, kind of get some greater direction. And I don't have an agenda for today, except to be here to help you. My only agenda, I want to be a help. I want to be of service. So if I can get those questions in, I'm happy to answer anything I can. And I'll be upfront with you. If you ask me something like, that's a good question, I'll write your question down and I'll get it back to Howard.
Yeah. Or we'll post it into these chats. So, because listen, at the end of the day, guys, my name's Howard Olson. I've been called into the ministry. I am an apostle. I am a teacher. I am not the FastTrader customer service agent. Okay. So I will help you through these things. I made some getting started guides. I've done all of that stuff. It's been a labor of love to really try to help you, the body of Christ, use the tools of Babylon to defeat Babylon as we go. You know, it is written that the wealth of the wicked has been stored up for the righteous, and we proclaim every morning that it flows to us now. And we also know that the thief must repay sevenfold everything that he's stolen. These tools are tools that we can now use to bring those promises forth. But having said all of that, there just ain't enough of me to be the customer service rep for FastTrader and Sapphire Markets. I can't do it. And so I'm already starting to get emails and things like that. So I just want to create some linkages. And maybe the first thing that we're going to talk about, if you're having challenges with Sapphire Markets, for example, getting your accounts there, you can go to support@sapphiremarkets.com. Now I know a lot and I will help you, and I've got a heart to help everyone. But again, you have to understand that I've got capacity limits. And, you know, I don't draw a paycheck from FastTrader. So I've done this for you. I've done this for myself. And I just want to be able to give you everything you need to move forward with this, including introductions to Sapphire and to Ben here. But you're going to have to get most of your questions answered there. So that I hope we're clear about that. There just ain't enough of me to go around and, you know, be on call 24/7 answering FastTrader questions. I just can't do it. I can't do it. So, all right. So this is your, this is your call. We're doing this call for you. We're not coming on with an agenda. I didn't come on with a prepared presentation. I didn't come with a prepared statement. This is a place that if you've got questions, you can come and ask them and get them answered. That's the purpose of this call. So I'm watching the live streams here, and I'm watching each and every one of you. If you got a question, just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask away.
I do see a comment in chat. Can I just take a question from chat?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. So this is Danny. I'm Canadian. Hey, I used to live in Seattle, so I love visiting my friends in Canada. Fond memories of Vancouver. Victoria is probably like one of my favorite places ever on the planet. I mean, the beauty that you all have in your nation is just astounding. So I love visiting my friends in Canada. All right. So with that said, Danny, as a Canadian, I'm just wondering, do taxes need to be paid on any amount not withdrawn?
Oh, you don't want to.
Now, I don't know if this is going to translate, but the humor is I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, so I'm not a tax guy who would know how to answer that question. But here's what I will tell you. Until you take a withdrawal from our account, you have no guarantees that that withdrawal will in fact be available for you to withdraw. So what we ask is work with your tax advisor. When you invest this in the PAM, that is a locked-in fund for you. And until you take the money out, it is technically not a gain. So work with your tax person. They can help you with that.
All right. Now, I will just add to that. Again, I'm not dispensing any tax advice. Again, I'm not dispensing any tax advice. And I'm going to say it one more time. I am not dispensing any tax advice. But generally speaking, it is generally understood that tax is only paid on realized gains. And unless you withdraw a profit, you have not realized the gains. There's no tax on money sitting in an account that's just accumulating or doing whatever it does. Taxes are only paid at the moment a gain is realized. How that calculates, again, I'm going to leave that between you and your tax advisor, but money sitting in an account, you do not pay tax on it.
Another question from Bill about taxes. Let me answer this one because it's related. So somebody told me that I have to pay taxes on US and as a Canadian citizen. Wherever it is, if you are taxed in that geography, then you need to work with your tax person to handle these tax issues. I cannot advise on it. Now, what I will tell you, the second part of your question is what about the value? The value is what you deposited into your MT5 account. We get to see that, and it's a part of your records. So if you deposited $495 US into your account, that's the cost basis for the purposes of the FastTrader. And that would be what you need to provide your accountant when it comes time for you to do any withdrawals and any sort of tax conversations. That part is tracked.
And I'll also say that for purposes of reporting and giving information to your tax advisor or your accountant or whoever's doing this for you, there is a history tab and it'll show you every deposit that you've made and every realized profit. But again, there is no gain until you withdraw it. There's no gain until you withdraw it. It's like if I sit on gold and silver, the price of silver can go up, the price of gold can go up. But I made a profit on it unless I sell metal at a higher price than I paid for it. And that doesn't happen until the time that I make the sale. So it's the same thing here.
So someone's got a question about the calculation for our fees. That's a great question. So Howard, I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet. I'll get to that in just a moment. Is there another question that we want to ask while I'm getting that ready?
The question would be, if we're charged 30% on profit, taking a $400 amount invested, next month it is $500. So I imagine the profits are calculated monthly. Therefore, that's 30% of the $100 gain. But in the next month, it goes down to $300. And then the next month, it goes back up to $400. There's a $100 gain from the $300. Do I pay 30% on that coming back up to the 400 again?
I tell you what, Howard, can you make it to where I can share my screen? Let me answer his question with a show and tell.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch who asked that question.
Under Dorothy. But
Dorothy, okay, thank you. Hello,
David?
under Dorothy. Okay, so great question. Let me show you with inside our PAM portal. It still won't let me share.
It does now.
Okay, so within our PAM portal, make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Can you all see the PAM portal now?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so within the PAM portal, you can actually see that we are tracking trade results on a time interval. The time interval happens to be monthly. So you see where it says trade results right here, $45.18?
yes,
This month's profits. This number will continue to accrue. And this is the number that you pay FastTrader 30% against. So this is the profit for the month. And on a monthly basis, let me pull up the spreadsheet that you all have probably seen. This is an example of what happens on a monthly basis. So if at the end of the month, this PAM portal reflects this number as $105 profit for the month. I'm just going to connect the dots here. Assume at the end of September, this says $105. I don't know what it will be. It'll probably be higher just based on the fact that we're so early in September. But let's say it says $105. You pay 30% of that number to FastTrader as our performance fee. The broker is going to take 1% of the account balance. The account balance, that's $670-ish. They take their 1% fee and you get to keep the rest of it. So how does this work? The broker, 1% of balance monthly. FastTrader takes 30% of whatever this number is that it's tracking at the end of the month. And then for next month, that number gets reset to 0 and we start tracking your performance for the month all over again.
Oh, okay.
but you didn't, but you did, it doesn't show if next month the account is lost money. Obviously, I don't pay any fees for the next month. But when do I begin to pay fees when that amount increases?
Okay, so on a monthly basis. So let's call a spade. October, let's not decree it, but let's say October is not a good month for us and it's got a negative number. What's going to happen come November 1st? That negative number is wiped away. FastTrader does not collect any fees from you for the month of October. Starting in November, we reset the clock, and now we're managing to a new month and a new performance period. And if at the end of November we've got a profit, we're going to take 30% of November's profit.
All right. That's the chink in that system, because now I'm paying you commission on my losses.
No.
Because now my $400 is only worth $300, and the next month it comes up to $400. That would be called a $100 profit in your calculation, but it's not really profit to me. I have to pay fees on it, but it's not profit to me because I put in the 400, so I got no money in my pocket, but I got to pay you fees on that $100.
So I get it, but here's what I'm going to tell you: we have yet to have a losing month. It's not to say that we won't ever have a losing month, but I do recognize your question. And here's what I'm going to say. Where else are you going to find a program that offers you the capability of a historical 31.5% return? That's part of the game. We have to pay our staff salary too. And if we take a loss in the month in which we don't collect any fees, guess who gets to pay all of the overhead of the company without any money to do it? That would be us. We're shouldering that risk with you.
Okay, well, thank you for being honest about the question.
Oh, absolutely. I hope that in everything you hear, I am going to tell you the truth, even when the answer is maybe not something you want to hear.
Good, thank you very much.
Okay. Howard, what's next, my friend?
I don't see anything on the live streams. Let's see what's in the chat here.
Oh, there's lots in the chat.
Okay, so
Just a question on that again. Is there still the 1% fee for the broker regardless?
That is correct. So
Okay.
every month, the broker has to make their money to cover their overhead.
Okay.
Unlike FastTrader, it is not a performance fee. It is a fee for us doing business with them. And they are the ones that give us access to the market with these incredibly cost advantage spreads. Let me be really upfront.
let me say something about that for a minute, Ben. All right. So anybody who's ever worked, now I don't know what anybody's financial position on this call are, and that's none of my business, but people that have significant wealth, they typically work with a wealth management firm to do that. And those wealth management firms all base their fees as a percentage of the portfolio value. And the reason why this fee is applied on the Sapphire trading accounts, because one of the reasons FastTrader gets the spreads that it gets and the returns that it gets is because of that management fee that goes over to Sapphire markets. They provide the very best spread ratio so that these kind of returns can be achieved. And this is all stuff, everything we're looking at right now are tools that are typically available to people that are in the $1 million+ category. I don't know about you, but I'm not there. And this system has allowed us to participate in something that we wouldn't otherwise have access to without any minimum requirements to come in or barriers to entry or joining fees and monthly subscriptions. The fees are all based on profit to FastTrader and portfolio value to Sapphire markets. So this is if you've ever worked with a wealth manager, you know that this is all very normal stuff.
What I find interesting, Howard, is just to recognize that with what we're talking about here, most of us don't get in the world of trading. A broker makes their money off of charging you a little bit more for every time you buy and charging you a little less when you go to sell, so that they make money on both sides of the trade. It's called the spread. And those pennies, with the type of volume that we're asking about, adds up to a lot more than 1%. So the fact that the broker is doing this for us on a flat fee, regardless of how many transactions we do, and we do thousands of transactions, I don't know how else to say it. This is what allows us to have the very cost advantage trading structure that we do. We want Sapphire markets to do well and continue to give us this first tier access into these trading markets. It's a big part of why we can do what we do. We want them to make money. Okay, those are great questions. Any other questions live before I go back into the chat?
Oh, chat been raised.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that question.
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Please do.
Maybe
If you're in the
we can
middle of setting
just hang
everything
on one
up.
second. Maybe Ben, you can close your screen and we can bring it back up if needed. That way we can still see who we're talking to.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
Hey, I entered a couple of my questions in the chat section, and if you want me just to leave it there, I can do that, or I can just ask you right now.
Why don't you go ahead and just ask?
Just ask.
Okay, so if you're in the middle of setting everything up on your computer, is there a time frame that it all has to be, like if you got interrupted and and you needed to leave for half an hour or something, is that going to affect, or you have to start all over again, or what do you think?
Depending on where you are in the process. So if, for example, you're in the middle of creating an account and you don't complete it, then yeah, you'll have to start back over.
Okay.
If you've already
Alright.
created your account and you're in the middle of starting to fund it, you can pick up where you left off.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, let me put
do
some
you-
perspective on that. Any one of those individual steps, none of them should take more than 10 minutes. So just parse off 10, 15 minutes for each one of those steps. And when they're done, they're done. So that once it's completed, it's completed.
Okay. Now, these accounts, are they secure from any kind of government tampering or access or anything like that, knowing what we're up against right now?
It's a great question. I would question whether or not anything in this world would be secure, to be honest with you. One of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing is that the brokerage that we leverage is under a jurisdiction that's not tied to the United States, not tied to the UK, and allows us to have access to banks within those regulated systems. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get the jurisdiction of an offshore broker with the security of onshore liquidity providers in 12 of the most capable geographies across the planet. We are distributing this money on purpose just because of what you're asking about. Now, that was a complex answer. Howard, do you want to go into that a little bit deeper, or how would you like for me to handle that question?
I think you answered it. I mean, post 9/11, government's got its fingers into everything. But listen, I lived in Grenada and the Grenadines for about a year, 15 years ago. And one of the reasons why they exist is because they have very favorable financial conditions and regulations. And that's why, let's just put it this way. That's why a lot of U.S. politicians hold their money there. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there another question there, Teresa?
The only other thing I had was, I have a physical address and a PO box address. Doesn't matter which I use.
So for purposes of
bank-
Sapphire Markets, so whatever on your billing address of your utility bill that you provide for proof, make that the same address you use when you start Sapphire Markets, because that's the only real purpose for the physical address.
Okay, alrighty, because most of my stuff is really PO box. So,
sure, it doesn't matter. So whatever is on your utility bill, use that address. That's how they verify your physical address, is the utility bill matches what you put into the system.
So let me address it this way. So for example, I live here in a house in a place called Ladner. Ladner is in the city called Delta. It's part of Greater Vancouver. My registered mailing address, where all of my utility bills, everything goes to my mailing address in Vancouver. It is in fact a post office box held by UPS, but it's my street address. And that is the address that's on all of my correspondence, with the exception of birthday cards that come from my brothers and my sisters and that kind of stuff. Everything else goes down there. So for purposes of validating, so there's you need two documents. You need proof of identity,
Right.
which is your government issued ID. And the only thing they're looking there is that your face matches the picture and that the name on that document matches the name that you put on the account when you set it up. The second document you need is proof of address. And the only thing they're looking for there, they're not even matching your name anymore, because, so for example, Dick and Richard and Bob, they're all the same kind of, so Bob is a short form of Richard. So if everybody calls you Bob and you fill in your account details, okay, your name is Bob, but your government ID says Richard, it's going to be rejected. But if your billing, if your utility bill says Bob Richards, they're not checking that against your proof of ID. All they're checking is that the address on that utility bill is the same as the address that you filled in your account for. And here's the logic behind it. The logic is, if you can receive the bill, it must be a correct address. If it's a correct address, we'll accept it.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm good.
Looks like Russ has got a question.
Actually, Ben, if you don't mind, I got a couple. I have to do a quick dash by recording, so I might have missed a few moments. I just wonder if there's a way of maybe be able to save a little time here and get an email address from you. And then I have
Ben
a question.
at thefasttrader.com. So if you look on the screen right underneath my name, where it says Ben-FastTrader,
Yes.
so take Ben at thefasttrader.com.
Okay, thank you. Now, the other question I was going to have, and it's going to be a short one, hopefully. Is there any need for us to set up any kind of US identities and have any kind of IRS things in preparation for this? Or is it just strictly because it's a currency exchanging type of thing? We're not necessarily just reporting our own capital gains?
We have people from all over the world doing this program. So wherever your geography is and whatever taxing authority that you are under, that's who you work with when it comes time for you to report your gains. You do not have to be a US citizen.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Anything else there, Russ?
There will be, but I think I'm going to have to take some time to compose it, Ben, and then send you an email if that's okay.
Okay, very good, Russ. Glad to help.
Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Trent, I see you raising your hand. What's going on, Trent?
Yeah, I've just got a question about if your spouse was involved doing this and you're not, and then your spouse becomes deceased before you, is this something that you can easily get transferred to the surviving spouse?
So you would have to make sure as a part of last will and testament that there is directives about what Sapphire Markets needs to do with your account.
Okay.
Jake, can something other than a utility bill be used as proof of address? Yes and no. The first time that you make the submission with something like a renter's insurance, they're going to reject it. But if you email, and I put the email in the window, but this is Sapphire Markets. So it's support@sapphiremarkets.zendesktop.com and let them know you do not have a utility bill and give them the reason. They'll say, resubmit your request and we'll approve it. I've had it happen to a handful of clients that way. So good question.
And the other thing I'll just say there is, for example, I used my bank statement. And then I basically took my bank statement and I put a black marker over the balances because it's none of their business, but they could see that it was an official bank statement with the TD Canada Trust logo on it, my name, my address, and that's what I submitted. So, you know, a bank statement may not be a utility bill, but it serves the purpose of one for proof of address as well.
Perfect. All right, here's another chat window. And then Deanna, I'm going to go to you next. Can you explain the withdrawal process? Certainly can. Let me just do a show and tell again. So inside the PAM, right? So this is the account portal that you all have seen. If you click in, let's say I want to take out some profits from this account. I click in. I'm going to click on the withdraw button. And as I click on the withdraw button, I'm going to ask how much do I want to withdraw? And if we are in a withdrawal window, then it would process this withdrawal. Now, we do quarterly withdrawal windows. We notify you by email when we're going to do a withdrawal window. But what we've discovered is that if we enable withdrawals more than once a quarter, it dramatically affects your trading results. Dramatically. So one of our accounts where we enabled withdrawals every weekend had an 18% return for the month of July. The same account type managed with similar methodologies that held trades over the weekend and was open for the Monday sessions where a lot of the action happens, that 18% account grew to an 83% return account. So what we're trying to do is, as your friends, is to help you to balance your liquidity needs with your desire to appreciate your capital. So we will enable withdrawals on a quarterly basis, but we can't necessarily do that on a weekly basis and still see the types of returns that we want to be able to garner for you. So withdrawals are done in a window. How do you do it? You go to your PAM, you put in the amount of money you want to take out. Now, where does this money go? It goes into your MT5 account. Now, once it's in your MT5 account, you just get the money out the same way you put it in. So in Howard's case, Howard, you put a lot of money in using Bitcoin with Index, right?
I did.
So what you would do is you would reverse that flow. You say, I want to do a withdrawal with Bitcoin and I want to send it to my Index address, and you let Index be the conduit to get the money back to your bank account.
Right. So there are some people on this call that have not been through that process. So maybe can you stop screen sharing for a second? I just find it a lot easier to talk. Okay, so let me just take you through how I did this. Okay, again, and some of you have not opened FastTrader accounts, so you don't know any of this. You probably haven't even watched the Getting Started video. You hear the word Bitcoin, and some of you flip out. Oh, I don't know anything about that. You don't need to know anything about that. Okay, Canadian dollars is an international currency called CAD. United States dollars is an international currency called USD. And if I go to the States, I have to convert Canadian dollars into US dollars if I want to spend down there. The American retailers will not take Canadian dollars. If I go to the UK, I got to convert my money into pounds sterling. All we're doing, and by far the easiest way, if you're here in Canada, the easiest and the fastest way to do this is I transfer. So watch the flow here. If I want to put money into FastTrader through Sapphire Markets, I basically go to my bank. I do an Interac e-transfer over to a company called Endax. So I'm going to use $1,000 as the example. I put $1,000 from my bank account into Endax. It's there. The last time I timed it, I've done 6 of these now in the last 2 weeks. On average, it takes about 6 minutes for the money to show up. You're not going to find this happening through any kind of a wire transfer. So I send Canadian dollars over to Endax, and it shows up as Canadian dollars. I then click the button that says buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. It immediately gets converted into an international currency called BTC. I then send those BTC over to my MT5 account, and it shows up on the other side in about 20 to 60 minutes in US dollars. So you don't even have to worry about converting it. It just converts at the exchange rate. Okay, now I got those US dollars sitting there. I put them into Pan My Trade. Now, in reverse, if I want to make a withdrawal, all I do is, just as Ben showed us that example, you go into the withdrawal window. Okay, I want to withdraw. Let's say you want to withdraw $500. You click in $500, you hit the execute, $500 shows up in your MT5 account. And then using the withdrawal window there, you go boom, and you put it back into Bitcoin, and it shows up in your Endax account. And then you can send it right into Canadian. Then you just sell it at Endax. You just reverse the process. The whole thing literally takes a matter of minutes to do. And you just go from Canadian dollars to BTC to US dollars, and on the reverse, you go from US dollars to BTC to Canadian. And we're not trading Bitcoin. We're not staying in Bitcoin. You don't need to be a Bitcoin expert. We're literally going to be in there just long enough to make the transaction. We convert from Canadian to Bitcoin to US, and then we convert from US to Bitcoin to Canadian. And you don't have to worry about being an expert about Bitcoin. You just click the button, withdraw like this, and convert, and then it all happens inside Endax. And the video is very clear about how that works. If you have not watched that video, you have to watch the video, because we took a lot of time to record it in the clearest, simplest, most articulate, easy to understand terms. And anybody who's watched the video has said, this makes sense. It's easy to do. Anybody can do it. So if you haven't watched the video, if anybody calls me, the first question I'm going to ask, have you watched the video? And if the answer is no, I won't answer your question. Go watch the video. After you watch the video, I'll be happy to hold your hand. But if you haven't watched the video, because we've made it really, really simple, and we basically film all the steps and explain it as we go. It is that simple.
Excellent. Good answer, sir. I answered several others in the chat window as far as some of the questions. So Natalie was asking about, what is this thing called MetaTrader? Why did it pop up? You don't need it. All right, so MetaTrader would be as if you wanted to go do the trades yourself, MetaTrader would be the interface to do it. Who's doing the trading? We are, right? So you don't need that MetaTrader access. Don't even worry about it. Okay, Deanna, you've been so patient. You've had your hand up, and I feel like I've been ignoring you. I didn't mean to. Deanna, what's your question? How can I help you today?
You're a riot, Ben. So in this, I don't remember what you call it, where it's 2, 2, or 1, you know, that where you put people underneath you.
Yeah, we call it the Build Fast program.
Yeah, thank you. I knew you knew the name. So it's one spot per, like 2% for one person, 2%.
Oh, no. It's 2% of everyone you bring into the program, Deanna. So you're going to go tell your mom about it, your brother about it, your sister about it.
All right, now hold on. I want to put a little codicil here first, okay? Listen, let me speak now. The purpose of this program is not to turn it into some big network marketing thing. That's not what this is.
Right on, buddy.
That's not what this is. Because if this was that, I promise you, we would not be having a call about this right now.
Right.
This is, and I'm going to be very, very clear about this, because if this even had a smell or a scent of network marketing or MLM distribution, we would not be having this conversation right now. Ben would not be on here, and Jack and I would still be friends, and I would not have any money in this. What this is a modest referral program that allows you to refer some friends and family if you wish, and they will send you, they will part of their profits. So FastTrader takes 30% on the generated profit. That's how they pay the overhead, and that's what makes it worth their while. If you refer somebody, they'll pay you 2% of the profit of the account of the one that you referred. Now, you can refer as many people as you like, but this is not in every MLM program. If you want to qualify to get paid, you have to recruit every month. You have to buy product. That's not what this is. This is an individual investment account where your money can grow using these trading tools. And because Jack's heart is to restore the family, and one of the greatest threats to the family is the financial pressures that come against the family. Because typically listen, there's all kinds of network marketing things doing all kinds of Forex and Bitcoin trading. That's not what this is. This is an institutional grade platform that is being used by millionaires and billionaires. And what Jack has been able to do with FastTrader is work a deal that people with just $100 or $500 can come in and enjoy the benefits of this. Because his heart is to help restore the family and alleviate the financial pressures that come against the family, they have created a modest referral program that will give you 2% of the profits generated, or 2%, not even 2% of the profits, 2% of the fees generated off of those profits, basically for those people that you've referred. But there is no requirement to do it, because it's basically an individual holding, and Jack is just sharing the profits back with us if we make some referrals. So I want to be very clear about this. I want to de-emphasize now it's very real. I see the possibilities in it. I see the benefits in it, and I will be a participator in those benefits. But I want to de-emphasize this as a reason to get involved, so that we can start turning ourselves into recruiting machines. No, we are the people of God. We're winning back our nations. We're decreeing and we're declaring and we're restoring righteousness back upon this earth. That's what we're doing. And we've been afforded a tool that will allow us to start growing and multiplying whatever money we have. And as a bonus, this is the bonus. If you refer somebody, they'll pay you a referral fee for it. But there is no requirement for that. And I really want to be clear that we de-emphasize that. Now, it's powerful.
Perfect.
It's powerful, but there's no requirement. This is not a network marketing program. I have not introduced. I will not. I've had people coming with food distribution programs. I've had people coming with Melaleuca and all kinds of stuff. I will not allow it into this community, because then we lose the focus. Then that's not what this is. Open an investment account and let your money start growing. And if you refer somebody because you've had some benefits from it, they'll say thank you with a percentage of those profits. That's all this is.
Yeah, I did not mean to stir feathers.
Well, no, I know you didn't, but there's somebody out there thinking it, and I want to clip that. I want to clip it in the bud before the thought takes root.
Yeah. And I think what I misunderstood was, I have the first, and then those people get the second, and then the third layer of whomever they introduce would be the 1%. I think that's, my mind went crazy with how it all broke down. Somebody asked me and I didn't have an answer. I didn't know how to.
So hold up, let me answer this part of it. This is not an MLM. It's not, this is a referral network. So how does a referral network work? When you refer someone, they're a tied account to you for purposes of that 2%. How many people you refer is up to you. Now, when they refer someone, guess what? They are now a part of a tree that we track. So I know, Deanna, you referred your mom, and then your mom referred your uncle. I'm tracking your mom's, and I'm tracking your commissions for purposes of that. And the reason why we call it the 2-to-1 program is you get 2% of everyone you bring. You get 2% of everyone they bring, and then you get 1% of everyone that second layer brings. 2% first level, 2% second, 1% of your third level, and we track that for you.
Right. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to watch the rest of the replay because I have to go, but thank you. Love you all.
Deanna.
Bye.
I want to echo what Howard just said. We're not doing this because of, this isn't about the referrals. It isn't. It's about getting the right people in this program that want to be a part of doing something different. I love the fact that we're making something that has been only accessible to the wealthy of the world available to anyone who wants to be a part of it. And I'm telling you, Jack's taken a lot of risk in doing this. Just candidly, he didn't have to do this. So I love my brother's heart on it. I really do.
Well, and I'll also say this because listen, we've had a lot of conversations with each other, both you and me, Ben, you, me and Jack, we've had lots of conversations. And you know, one of the things I wanted to do was make videos available to make it really easy for people to find the US getting started versus the Canadian getting started, because the procedures are a little different. And I made some suggestions how to make that information readily accessible. And the answer that came back, we want people to have to come and ask for this info. Why would you do that? Because we don't want this thing to grow so fast that we can't manage the growth of the thing. And if you look at every other network marketing company and MLM, they're looking for fast growth. Everybody's calling, okay, I got to go call my leaders. And then it's a blitz to go grow a thing. These guys are trying to slow the growth of it, not accelerate it.
Okay, so you're opening up a can of worms here, Howard. Man, I got to answer this one because, all right, we're building a software program in the background. So for those of you who are like, how do I track my tree and how do I know who's in? We're building that software program with the developer. And the developer's like, all right, standard MLM stuff. We're like, no. It's like, all right, so you don't have compression, you don't have requirements, you don't have level, you don't have any. I'm like, no, this is not an MLM. I mean, so you just have a referral network where people can make money and they don't ever have to do anything ever again. And I'm like, yeah, you got the point.
It's true, genuine residual income. And the greatest lie in network marketing is that you get residual income. No, you don't get in an MLM, you don't get residual income, you get service income. You stop servicing, you stop buying, you stop earning. Here, as long as profits are being generated, it's a residual income without you having to do anything to qualify it except having made the referral.
So this software developer were like, take this out, take this out, take this out. And he's like, this is a really pretty simple project now. I'm like, thank you.
It really is just a straight up thank you. That's all it is, with no ongoing requirements to do anything. It's just, hey, thank you for the referral. As long as they're generating profits, we'll pay you a percentage of those profits. It's really very simple, very straight up.
Well, these have been some great questions. What other questions do you have for me? I think I've answered almost all of the questions that I see in the chat window on Zoom. I've answered, Howard. Is there anything on the Facebook side I should address?
No, nobody's asking anything over here. A couple of people watching the stream, but nobody said anything over here.
There's been a couple of comments of individuals where their index deposit request was rejected by their banks. And I see here in the chat that some people have said, yeah, I had to call my bank and get them to approve it.
That sounds about right. I mean, I didn't have any of those issues, but a lot of times, sometimes the banks will put a stop on a payment because it's, part of their security measure. You just call the bank and say, hey, listen, I put this through and you authorize the payment and they'll put it through.
Barb, we accidentally set up an automatic account. Not a big deal. Honestly, that account number at Sapphire Markets is simply the conduit for us to be able to get it into our trading software. It doesn't matter. You're not actually trading through that account. So doesn't matter a bit. As long as you have an MT5 account number, I don't really care what the designation is. MT5 raw spreads is the first choice on the list. That's why we choose it. If you happen to choose Forex automation instead of MT5 raw spreads, it's not a big deal. You don't have to do anything to fix it.
Just don't use the account. Just don't use the account. Just don't use the account. Let it just sit there and don't touch it. Leave it alone.
Okay, Bill is asking, can we start with less than $500? So Howard, we've had some conversations on this. Would you like to handle this part or shall I?
You go ahead and do it.
All right, here's the deal. We would suggest that you start with 500 because that's a nice amount of money to start to do the appreciation. If you cannot start with 500, our absolute minimum on an exception basis is $100. US,
by the way, US. So you're looking at 130 Canadian.
but it is not something that it honestly requires an awful lot more of our time and work to enable a small account. We only do it on an exception basis. If you want an exception, you need to email support@thefasttrader.com. Say I'm a part of Howard's network and I would like an exception. Okay, Danny's got another question there. This one's more related, Howard, to index. So I'm gonna put this one to you. I have a question about email addresses. Is it best to have FastTrader, Sapphire, and Index all in the same email addresses? I'm not sure what he's asking about.
Well, I think because each account that you set it up with an email address and a password. So I think the essence of the question is, is there an advantage to using the same email address for each of those accounts? None of those companies are intrinsically talking to each other. So I would put it like this: use the email address that's going to be easiest for you to remember and for you to find the information. Because what's going to happen is that when you open an account, they're going to send you confirmations. They're going to send you verification links. So you might as well use an email address that is easy for you to find these things as these emails come to you. So let me give you an example. So I am managing Michaela's account. So Michaela is my wife. For those of you who don't, who may not be on our calls, Michaela is my wife. I opened all her accounts for her. I created a brand new email address for Michaela called mymichaela at, whatever. I created, and that email address that I created was so that anything from Index, anything from Sapphire, and anything from FastTrader goes to that email address. And that way I can see it, I can respond to it, and I can take care of all of it. Now, the other thing is we both have an account. So Michaela has FastTrader, Sapphire Markets accounts, and I have Sapphire FastTrader accounts. But both of our accounts I have funded with one index because our bank account is a joint bank account. So both of our names are on that bank account. And all I did was I took the money from our bank account, put it into Index, and then I sent the money that was going into Michaela's account, I sent it to Michaela's account number, and the money that was going to my account, I sent it to my account number. So you don't need an Index account for every Sapphire. As long as you got your bank account, you can use one Index. I mean, there's even a person on this call today who wanted to get started, whose Index account had not been approved. And I said, do you trust me? And she goes, yes, I trust you. I said, can I trust you? She says, yes, I can trust you. I said, all right, I'll transfer the money off of my account. So I basically made a transfer from my bank account into Index and from my Index account to her Sapphire account. I said, now you need to send me an Interac e-transfer to repay what I just loaned you. And she just paid back the loan. Now that's not an open invitation. It was one of the people that listen, I filmed all of those getting started videos. I had to set up, because once I set up an Index account, I can only set it up once. Once I set up a Sapphire account, I can only set it up once. So I worked with a couple of different people to film the opening of their accounts so I could create those getting started videos. So one of those people who was kind enough to come and literally drove all the way across town to come and sit in my office for 4 hours while I filmed the opening of their accounts. Why did it take 4 hours? Not because it takes 4 hours, but because we had to wait for the verification to happen before step 2. We had to wait for the verification, where it was waiting for verifications to take place. It wasn't filling in the forms takes a couple of minutes. That's the only reason it took so much time, because we had to wait for these things to happen. And then when I sent them. So anyway, the only reason I loaned the money and transferred from my account into her Sapphire account was because she happened to be sitting here allowing me to film the setting up of her account. And I said, listen, I'm going to do you, Saul. You don't have to wait. I'll loan you $500, pay me back $500. And she did that immediately. All right. So but you can use, once you have an Index account, you can fund, as long as you know the deposit address of Sapphire, you can send the money over there.
Right.
And if you want to take money back out again, you just send it right back.
So Howard, here's another question I think is really good, because it kind of calls in the Bitcoin. All right. So Lydia is like, Ben, I'm not understanding your answer to my question. If I've got Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin is constantly changing. You're correct. I am not advocating that you hold Bitcoin in your Index account. I am simply echoing what Howard said. We are exchanging Bitcoin as a conduit. You're going to use Bitcoin to get money from Canadian to Bitcoin, and from Bitcoin into Sapphire Markets to US dollar, blah, 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 blah. We are not holding Bitcoin.
Yeah, so let me answer this. So again, I would never hold this stuff. I'm literally hanging on to that Bitcoin for the 20 seconds it takes to transfer it. So basically, okay, so if you're here in Canada, you'll be familiar with everybody in Canada. Pretty much everybody in Canada knows how to do an Interac e-transfer. I basically do an Interac e-transfer. I'm with TD. You might be with Royal Scotia. You might be with one of the credit union, but the process is the same. You send the transfer. So I send $1,000. I send $500 over to Endax. The minute that $500 shows up 6 minutes from now, I click buy Bitcoin. It instantly buys Bitcoin at the current price of Bitcoin. The minute I've done that, I instantly send it to Sapphire Market. So holding Bitcoin is very volatile. It's going up and down. Like I wouldn't hang on to it for 24 hours. I'm literally hanging on to it long enough. I make the transfer from Canadian dollars into Bitcoin and from Bitcoin to Sapphire. And I do all of that in a span of about 10 minutes. I'm in it and I'm out of it instantly. But it's the quickest, fastest, simplest way to do it.
You said it best, Howard. It's a conduit. It's not the medium of holding value.
Yeah,
It's a conduit.
I hold gold and silver. I will not hold Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is for the speed of transaction. It works pretty well, actually very well.
All right, so here's another one. So Russ is asking about Index. Is it available with chartered CDN banks, or do I have to, or can I do a credit union? I don't understand this one. So
I understand it. So we have 5 major chartered banks in Canada, and we have a whole series of credit unions. One of the guys that I filmed with has a credit union account, and as long as you can do an e-transfer at your credit union, it will work with Index. As long as you can send an Interac e-transfer, it works.
Perfect. Thank you. I wasn't sure on that one, so I figured I'd give it to the expert. Okay, well, these have been some great questions. I see that the chat window has slowed down. I think that we have covered everything in the chat, Howard.
Yeah.
Anyone else need to wave me down and ask a question before we start calling this one off? I don't see any waving hands. Oh, there is a new question.
What do you recommend for frequency of withdrawals from FastTrader for both Forex and trading account quarterly, 4 times a year, 2 times a year? Is once a month withdrawals too much for Forex? Well, first of all, once a month is not available. So on the Forex accounts, it's every 3 months. You have a withdrawal window every 3 months. And the reason why they do that is because in order to create a withdrawal window, they have to shut down all the trading algorithms. And when you shut down the trading algorithms, because the Forex markets are trading 6 days a week, 7 days, 6 days a week, 24 hours a day, 5 days, 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, and 23 hours on the 7th day. And to create a withdrawal window, you have to, you basically pull yourself out of the markets and you're missing all the Monday morning activity. So to maximize the returns, they let the algorithm run for a full 3 months. And at the end of 3 months, they shut it down to give everybody a window to make the withdrawals that they want. When you go into the crypto market is a 1-year commitment. So if you need liquid cash, don't put it in the crypto account. Now, for me, I treat both of my accounts as long-term savings accounts. It goes in. Now, on my quarterly withdrawals, my goal, I put my capital in. Okay, so let's just say I put $1,000 in. And over the next 3 months, it trades and it's going to make whatever profit it makes. So let's say that it generates, I don't know, I'm going to come up with a number. I'm going to say it makes $500 in profit. I'm going to pull that first $500 out, and in the next quarter, I'm going to pull out the next $500 until I have my capital returned, and then I'm just going to let it continue to sit there and grow. Now, if you need cash, just understand, like if the money that you put in there you need for your groceries tomorrow, don't put it in there. Okay, this is a savings account. This is an accumulating growth account, and you just let it sit there and grow. That's the way you need to treat this. And if this is money that you need liquid to pay rent next month, if this is money that you need liquid to cover your mortgage, if this is money you need liquid to pay for school expenses or groceries, don't put it into a FastTrader Sapphire account.
Now,
this is a place. I basically put it like this. I put money in there. This is a place. This is where I'm really going to use this as a place to grow my nest egg. Once I put it in there, I completely disregard it and just let it continue to accumulate and grow. Now I'll watch it from time to time, I'll look at, okay, is it growing? Is it not growing? And yes, it's growing. I mean, there's a lady on the call here named Agnes. I mean, she opened an account on a Sunday and by Tuesday, she'd already made $50. She says, I've never seen that before. And she's from the wealth management field. All right. So I'm not making any promise on future returns. This is a place where I'm going to put my money and let it begin to accumulate. And I'll give you a little snippet of a conversation Jack and I have been having. The goal is not to leave your money here. The goal is to create sound money. Now, I think most of us recognize that God's money is gold and silver. And I'm working on a project with Jack right now to create a gold and silver savings program so that we can actually take the profits that we've made in FastTrader. See, Jack, understand this guy. He created FastTrader and he's saying, take your profits out of my FastTrader and go buy gold and silver with it. And he's not even selling gold and silver. He wants to see you grow your money. And I'm working a program with him now that we can all do this under one roof, that as you start to generate profits inside the FastTrader, we're going to make it easy for you to buy gold and silver somewhere else in small increments, because most of us haven't got, $2,500 kicking around to go buy an ounce of gold. But what if we could set it up on a fractional ownership basis? What if you could pick up a silver coin once a month, or 2 silver coins, or 3 silver coins, and use the profits that you made at FastTrader so that you don't even have to make a new paycheck? Let your money sit in FastTrader, pull out the profits, turn your profits into gold and silver. Let your money sit in FastTrader, make your profits, pull out your profits, turn it into gold and silver. Let your money make money over at FastTrader, pull out your profits and turn your profits into gold and silver. This is what we're working on now. So Jack's goal is not to have you keep all your money in there so he can start nickel and diming you on fees. He actually wants you to pull your profits out and turn it into real money, gold and silver. That's what we're building here. We are building. This is really what we're doing. And this is the reason why I brought it into Decree for Canada, because this is a kingdom finance tool. When you understand what we're doing with it, we're going to be, I've got a whole teaching curriculum on gold, on silver, the nature of inflation, how it works, what God's money is and how to make it work for you and how to operate. But we're not ready for that yet. But that will all be coming. This is the reason why this is part of the Decree Church, the Declaration Church, the Decree for Canada, Decree for America, Decree for the Nations, is because what we're looking at right here is a kingdom finance tool that will empower you, members of the ecclesia, to participate in God's money and God's kingdom using Babylon's tool to enrich yourself. That's what we're doing. We're taking the devil's own nonsense and we're turning it on his face and we're using it to beat him over the head with it. That's what this is all about.
It's amazing.
I hope that made sense to everybody.
Well, Howard, I think that we've answered most of the questions. There is one here. How do they get access to this video after the fact? Because they didn't get.
It's sitting on Facebook, so it's on our YouTube channel. It's there, and on our Facebook channel, it's there. And if you don't know how to find them, you go to decreeforcanada.com or decreeforamerica.com, and at the bottom of the page, there's 2 links that say "Watch the replays." And you just click on that and it'll take, there's one watch the replays on YouTube and there's another one that says watch the replays on Facebook, and it'll take you there. The only thing you're going to need to remember is what day was this. Now, I've also labeled the video. I think the video, it says, hang on a second. What did we call today's stream? We called it the FastTrader Q&A with Howard and Ben. So if you go to Facebook and you type in the search bar, FastTrader Q&A with Howard and Ben, it'll take you right to that video.
Nice. I see Deanna's got another question. Go ahead, Deanna.
It's real easy. When we have that window that we can withdraw, that little window, what is the span of openness of that window? Is it 1 day or?
Oh, great question. So typically what we're going to do is we're going to plan it for an upcoming weekend. And the reason why we do a weekend is because the market is closed for that time during the weekend. So what we're going to do is we'll send you out a message that says, hey, this weekend is a withdrawal window. Go out to your PAM portal, get your withdrawal request placed, please, for this weekend.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
Blessings. Thank you.
Maureen, I see you've got your hand up.
Hi, thanks for this. I just want to, whoops. I live in the country. I have mostly good internet connection, and I'm a tech tard. And I got it done yesterday afternoon. And the challenge that I had was my phone wouldn't scan my picture. So I took screenshots and emailed it to NDAX, who are here in Calgary. And they must have looked through everything and they verified my account and I made a deposit yesterday. So thank you, Howard, for the video. You did a great job. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, FastTrader, Jack. Just, this is an answer to prayer. This really is. So
Thank you,
don't
Maureen.
be,
And
don't
I'm
be
going to have
afraid
to quote you,
anybody.
by the way. I had a tech tard who told me that they were able to easily open their account. So I am writing that one down.
Yeah. I never heard that term, tech tart. I like it.
I'm just a country bumpkin, but it works.
You're not just a pumpkin gumpy. You are a child of God. You're a highly
Amen.
favored child of God. That's who you are.
Yeah. Don't be afraid, anybody. Go ahead and do it.
I learned something new today, the tech tard. I'm going to be using that. All right.
there
Well,
you
thank
go.
you, Maureen, for your comments. And I will agree, Howard's video, if you haven't yet watched it, it's amazing. He walks you through step by step. And he even has within it the chapter sections so that if you want to go back and watch a specific chapter, you can do that. It's well done. So kudos, Howard. Appreciate you so much, my friend.
All right. Well, if there's nothing further, I think we can just say mission accomplished. We did what we needed to do. This is now archived and you can go back and watch this anytime you like, but I think we got the questions answered. The video really does make it easy and we will help you through it. But the question we're going to ask, did you watch the video first? Because if you haven't watched the video, go watch the video because most of what you need to know, in fact, everything you need to know is there, but maybe there's a term you don't understand and it's okay. We can help you with that.
Howard, how do they get the video?
Go to decreeforcanada.com, decreeforamerica.com. They both land on the same website. And right in the middle of the page, it says, get started with FastTrader. You click on that link and it opens up the whole FastTrader page with the getting started video and the initial interviews we did with Jack and Ben. So you can get their vision and their heart and all the, how does it work and why are we doing it? So it's all there.
Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate very much, Howard, the chance to come and be a part of your group and to help answer questions. What I believe is as we start to understand things that seem complex or difficult, we can break it down step by step and we can accomplish great things together. That's my hope. That's my goal. I hope that you've seen our heart here today is to be able to make something that's truly amazing, accessible to the rest of the world. And we got to thank Jack. God gave Jack a huge vision. And our brother's stepping out and doing things.
And a huge brain. He's got a huge vision and a huge brain.
Yes, he does. So I would covet the prayers of this team. And when you covet good things, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. I covet your prayers. Would you pray for our traders? Would you pray for Jack and his family and for them to be protected? Would you pray for them to have the wisdom that they need to be able to have the discretion and the abilities to perform to the mission that God has called them to?
Amen. Well, okay, so you just opened the door and I'll just finish with this. I actually did get an email from somebody just a couple of days ago who said, this is a gift from God and we need to be covering this in prayer. I'll be praying. And I'm actually going to pick up that conversation. We're going to form an intercessor team to pray specifically over our kingdom finances and this tool that we've been given. So we're going to cover these guys in prayer. And if you are interested, so we've got an intercessor team. We got several intercessor teams over the decree and the governance part of what we do, but we're creating a secondary or a separate and distinct intercessor team just over this whole FastTrader and the series of tools that we're building here. And when I say we, it's their company. It's not my company. I'm not a partner. I'm not an owner. I have no stake in it. I have no conflict of interest. I have none of those things. But in conversations with Jack, we talked about the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make God's people financially whole. And one of the ways to do it is to get gold and silver into their hands. How do you get gold and silver in their hands? You take what little money they've got, let them start accumulating it, taking those profits and buying gold and silver. So I'm helping them with that simply because I have a vision for restoring God's finances. I am not an owner in this company and I have no financial vestitude in it outside of my own personal accounts. So when I say we, I say this because we're doing it in partner. Our job is to decree and to declare. Their job is to run that company. And together we're God's people restoring kingdom's finances. That's what I mean by we. We're working together on this, but I am not an owner or a shareholder or a stakeholder or anything outside of the fact that I own an account just like the rest of you. All right. So, but if you're interested, if you'd be interested in being part of an intercessor team to pray over this company and the restoration of our kingdom finances, we bring it together because they're part and parcel, then I'd like to hear from you, and we'll put that team together. All right. So I'll leave it with that.
Hey, it looks like Nellie has raised her hand. Hi, Nellie.
Hi, I just have one more point. The video and the documents that you have are absolutely phenomenal. What I would really highly suggest is that you go through the entire video before you do it. You go through it and do it, especially if you've never done anything like this before. And use the documents to copy and paste. That way you don't make mistakes. That's just a couple of suggestions I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you. Thank you and God bless.
God bless you too.
Thank you, Nellie. That's great advice, by the way. Copy and pasting is how to make sure that you don't mistype something. So copy and paste is your friend. And Howard's document gives you all the boxes that you need to fill in so that when they ask for that information later, you don't have to go searching for it. It's brilliant, as my friends in the UK would say. Okay, well, Howard, this has been great, my friend.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite. I sincerely appreciate getting to meet your tribe and your folks. And this has been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what, if you heard my video, I believe that the Lord God we serve loves to do things in sneaky ways. Not sneaky bad, but sneaky good. And I'm really looking forward to the sneaky good stories that he's going to play out in all of your lives through FastTrader. So thanks for letting me be a part of it. And I look forward to being a part of what it is that God's going to be doing in your lives.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Howard.
Well, we honor you, Ben. We thank you for being here today. Thank you for, giving up of your time, your resource, your effort, and your energy. And to the rest of you, God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the decree call. Some of you will see on Facebook. Some of you will see live. But God bless each and every single one of you. Okay, that's it. We're going to sign this thing out now. 3, 2, 1. And we'll just say goodbye, and I'll see you all in the morning.